episode of Sailor Moon Crystal. Sailor Moon and Chibiusa are captured and enslaved by the dark power of the Black Moon clan. This week's episode was all over the frickin' place. Basically, it's a big build-up to the finale of this season. This week's episode started off with a little bit of history with the Black Moon clan, where Sailor Moon has just been captured, she's now dressed as Neo Queen Serenity, and she has a fateful encounter with Prince Demand, who goes into the full backstory about the Black Moon clan. Apparently, in the future, this kingdom, which gives people longer life, has free healthcare, and is overall just pretty freaking amazing, they decide that there's something not quite right about that, and they want to get away from this. So instead, they decide to team up with this sketchy, weird, evil-looking medieval wizard from the planet Nemesis, who clearly is this other villain by the name of Phantom, who apparently went toe-to-toe with Neo Queen Serenity and was locked away in planet Nemesis. And this all seems like his big plan to manipulate the Black Moon clan and take over the kingdom yet again, and to destroy the legendary Silver Crystal so that his malefic Black Crystal can consume the entire universe. That's what I think is really going on here. But really, through the course of this episode, it's just the first scene with Sailor Moon, where she learns about their clan, and there's a really messed up scene where Prince Demand kisses her, and it totally messes with her mind and flips out, because she can't do anything. She can't transform into Sailor Moon, she can't get help from her friends, and she pretty much can't communicate with anybody. So she's screwed. She's basically the princess in the tower, and Prince Demand is the very androgynous dragon. The other parts of this episode are devoted to Chibiusa! Yay! So yeah, I've made it clear that I don't like the character of Chibiusa very much, and I don't really like her that much in this week's episode either, because for being over 900 years old, you'd think that she would learn that being a crybaby really isn't going to help anything, and maybe she should just try to do something more than just, you know, be a crybaby? I don't know. I'm waiting for that inevitable moment where Chibiusa is going to transform and she's going to have her big transformation sequence. That's probably going to come later in the episode, but throughout this one, we get to learn a little bit more about her past, how she was picked on by people because she has no ability to transform, she doesn't have the power of her mother, and she's always going to be teeny. Towards the end of the episode, we learn that Chibiusa actually tried to steal the legendary Silver Crystal, and this inadvertently led to her mother, Neo Queen Serenity, being encased in crystals and basically defeated by Prince Demand. Basically, she blames herself for everything that went down, for the destruction of Earth and all that jazz. And you know what? I agree with her. Chibiusa, it's all your fault. But at least she tried to make things slightly better by meeting Sailor Pluto, but even that sort of messed things up, because at the end of this episode, she tries to go see Sailor Pluto again, but she decides to run away when she's talking to the image of the future version of King Endymion. And I'm not sure why she did this. She feels kind of jealous in some senses because she sees that Sailor Pluto is all happy to be helping out the king and everything. She dropped her key, she walks into an evil void, and there he is looking all evil, Wise Man, or as he's probably going to be known, Phantom. That means pretty much all of the Sailor Senshi aside from Venus have been captured, so is it going to be up to Sailor Venus and Tuxedo Mask to save the day? We're just going to have to watch and find out. So what's the rundown? On this week's episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, it was okay. Basically, it was another build-up episode for the big final confrontation in this series, and I'm kind of interested to see where it's going. I know there's going to be a lot of fights because we got to go through all of Prince Demand's goons. That's going to be coming up. It's just, I wonder how the Sailor Senshi are actually going to free themselves, because we got to see all of them this week. They tried to transform, but it didn't work because the power of the Dark Crystal apparently is not letting them transform, and they're stuck there probably due to the power of Wise Man, who systematically is trying to capture all of them and, of course, take over the universe, because that's just what bad guys do. Other thing about this episode that I just didn't really care for is just how all over the place it was, with like going back and forth, and this is already involving characters who are time travelers, so it's already pretty freaking weird there. But yeah, I'm more interested to learn now more about that character of Phantom or Wise Man. I really think he's kind of an interesting villain, way more interesting than any of the ones that I saw from the first half of the series, and I can't wait to see what his whole deal is. But really, yeah, that's just all I have to say about this week's episode. Basically, it's just a build-up for the finale. Chibiusa's been captured, Sailor Moon has been captured, and that's pretty much it. On the technical side of things, just like the rest of the series, it looks okay. There were a few good artwork moments and some good atmosphere moments, and all the scenes with Wise Man looked really cool, especially at the end when Chibiusa was walking through the dark tunnel when his hand was reaching out through the darkness. That looked pretty awesome. Otherwise, just kind of an average, okay-looking episode of the series, which is to say it's just like the previous episodes. Otherwise, this was still a pretty decent episode that any Sailor Moon fan should definitely check out, especially if you've been following the new series. It'll get you really excited for the finale, which is just around the corner. So I'm going to give this week's episode a 3 out of 5. Just a pretty decent average episode of Sailor Moon Crystal. Check it out, guys. So I thought this was a pretty decent episode of Sailor Moon Crystal, but what about you guys? Please tell me what you thought about this week's episode in the comment section below. Did you have a favorite scene from this week's episode? What do you hope to see from the finale of this season? How are the Sailor Senshi going to escape? And who is your favorite member of the Sailor Senshi? Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it and share it with all of your friends. And you can also subscribe to our channel. That way you'll see all of our latest manga, anime reviews, and our brand new video podcast show. It's pretty freaking awesome. Make sure to also follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching. And as always, stay dandy, baby.